Do you make those or does your wife make them? Is it? You're a man of many talents. Prabhupada said we should know many things and know at least one thing very well. Although Harikesh Prabhu tells the story that they were staying somewhere and all that was available was an electric stove, and it's very hard to make chapatis on an electric stove. And after offering these flat, crisp chapatis for a couple of days, Prabhupada said, I will show you. Harikesh said, no one can make chapatis puff up on this stove. So Prabhupada didn't like to hear impossible. So Prabhupada made the dough, rolled out the first chapati, and it didn't puff up. And Harikesh said he was actually smirking, like, told you so. Prabhupada rolled out a second chapati, it puffed up perfectly. And he took the tongs and tossed the chapati, it bounced off Harikesh's nose. And he walked out like, that's how it's done, you know. And Rohini Kumar made chapatis with no burn spots, no black spots on them, which is not easy to do. So he made, 3 chapatis, 4 chapatis, no burn spots. He brought them into Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, what is this? They said, well, Prabhupada, it's your chapatis. He said, take them back and burn them, because the black spots add a nice flavor, actually, So Prabhupada was expert at everything. You ready, Ram? Where are you going to start? All righty. Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Kupijana Balaba Sirivanadari Kupijana Balaba Sirivanadari Jasodanandana Rajanaranjana Jasodanandana Rajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari. Jasodanandana Brajaranjana. Jamuna Tiravanatari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bo. Jayaram Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jayaram Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Pari Bhajakacharya Asathita Shri Shriman's Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananda Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namchar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Ananda Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Pradiki. Did we finish everything? Seems to me I left something out, but Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Thank you, Brahm. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sudamo Bhagate Dhammiganadi Bisaha Kalanasa Dhamesha Parano Ko Nadodata Narayana Namaskritcha Naram Chaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. Bhagavatam is his Vrinda's son. It is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna, along with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision through the dense darkness of the age of Kali shall get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should first offer his respects to the personality of God and Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of living Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So, what we're going to do today, this verse has no purport to it. But the next verse, I wanted to give, just so it's in our mind, because we're moving on to another storyline, another set of pastimes, it's like another act on the stage of Bhagavatam. So I wanted to review some of the lessons learned or a meditation on the previous chapters of Vamana Lila and Bali Maharaj. Just before we move on to something else, let's summarize and reconsider and meditate on the Vaman Bali Maharaj pastimes. Also, tomorrow's verse, it's a great verse. It's, got the line, Bhava Grihi Janardanam. Well, yeah, it's a great verse. So I figured I didn't want to try to push two of them into the same effort because there's not enough time. All right, so here we go on this closing out or summarizing the Vaman Bali Maharaj Lila. Shri Sukha Uvacha Iti Uktavantam Purusham Paratanam Mahanubhavo Kila Sadhu Samata Badanjaya Baspa Kalakulekshano Bhakti Utkalo Gadgadaya Girabravit Shri Sukha Uvacha Iti Yukvantam. No, it's Bhagavad, it's the Brahma Samhita. Iti Uktvantam Purusham Parantanam Mahanubhavo Kilasaru Sammata Badanjalir Baspa kalakulakshano Bhakti utkalo gadgadaya gira pravit Shri Sukha uvacha iti uktvantam purusham parantanam mahanubhavo kilasaru sammata Patanjalir baspa kalakul Hare Krishna. Patanjalir baspa kalakulekshano Bhakti utkalo gadgadaya gira bravit Iti yuktvantam purusham parantanam Mahanubhavo kilasaru sammata Patanjalir baspa kulakulakshano Bhakti utkadgadgadaya gira bravit Shri Sukha vacha iti yuktantam purusham paratanam Mahanubhavo kilasaru sammata Patanjalir Bhakti utkalo gadgadaya grabhavit Shri Sukha vacha iti yuktantam purusham parantanam Mahanubhavo kilasaru sammata Patanjalir basva kalakulakshano Bhakti utkadgadgadaya bhavit Shri Sukha vacha iti uktvantam Patanjala baspa kulakulakshana Bhakti utkadgadaya Ladies, Vaishnavis Sukha vacha iti yuktvantam purusham paratanam Mahanubhavo kilasaru sammata Patanjalir basva kulakulakshana Bhakti utkalo gadgadaya gira bravit I don't want to put you on the spot, don't worry. Shri Sukha vacha Shri Sukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Uktavantam, upon the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purusham, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paratanam, oldest of everyone. Mahanubhava, Bali Maharaj, who is a great and exalted soul. Akila Saru Samata, as approved by all saintly persons. Bada Anjali, with folded hands. Baspakala Akula Ikshana, whose eyes were filled with tears. Bhakti Utkala, full of ecstatic devotion. Gadgadaya, with which we were faltering in devotional ecstasy. By such words. Yeah, Abravit said, Sukadeva Goswami said, when the Supreme, Ancient, Eternal Personality of Godhead had thus spoken to Bali Maharaj, who was universally accepted as a great devotee of the Lord and therefore a great soul, Bali Maharaj, his eyes filled with tears, his hands folded, and his voice faltering in devotional ecstasy, responded as follows. So there's no purport by Prabhupada, and we're going to... What was the meditation that brought Bali Maharaj to this? I mean, this is what it means to be a devotee, and what is the fruit or the light at the end of the tunnel, or what do they say, the keep your eyes on the prize. So as we advance in devotional service, I mean, they have an idea of what ecstasy means, and if they're not talking about the drug, they're talking about some carnal something, you know, ecstasy. But they have no idea to have all the senses completely absorbed, shaking, tears, folded hands. This is what it means. This is what's embedded in the process of Krishna consciousness and what we have to look forward to. Sounds good to me. Okay. Hey, we can shut this. Actually, it's a little cooler than I thought. Do you mind, Suresh? All righty. You jumped right on it. Thank you very much. So, let's see. And where's our clock? So a short summary of what's happened in this section of the Bhagavatam. We have Bali Maharaj, empowered by the Brahmins, has managed to conquer the kingdom of the demigods. Now, Brihaspati, the spiritual master, has advised them, don't fight now. It's not the right time, it's not the right place, it's not the right circumstance. In the Mahabharata, Arjuna and Bhima wanted to fight at every step with the Kurus. They were angry and ready to go. And Yudhishthira Maharaj kept counseling, right time, right place, right circumstance. So they became so frustrated, sometimes Bhima would go on pilgrimage, Arjuna would go on pilgrimage. But in both these examples, and then we have, well, I guess we'll finish with a summary. Then we've got Aditi, who's, her children, the demigods, have all fled from the heavenly planets or in hiding from the demons. So Aditi, anyone know what she did? Did she flex her muscles? Did she go to fight herself? What did she do? Nobody knows. Yeah, she engaged in the Payovrata. She took, in only 10 days, she followed. It's very strict though, and she performed this Payovrata, and then she Anyway, then she got as her son, she got Vamanadeva. Of course, you know the rest of the story. Vamana came and made an appeal. He asked for only 3 steps of land. Anyone know what Bali Maharaj's response was when he asked for 3 steps other than Dravida? Anyone know? Not very intelligent. Why? Yeah, I can give you villages, jewels, cows, and you only ask for 3 steps of land? Does anyone know what Vamanadeva's response was? That he said, you made a good point. I'll ask for a village and a beautiful wife and jewels. And what was his response? Ram? Yeah, if I'm not satisfied with 3 steps, it's the whole, what do they call it in America? Planned obsolescence. Sometimes you still see a Model T or a Model A Ford, one of those old cars, original cars. They're still running. So Model T was 1910, I don't know, something like that. So let's say 1920. So that means over 105 years ago, they made a car that lasts forever. Prabhupada points out that you used to go to the blacksmith in India, in the village, and the blacksmith would make a razor, you shave your face, and it would work for the rest of your life. So what's the problem with that? You make a car that lasts forever, you make a razor that lasts forever. Yeah, you've got to have planned obsolescence so someone will buy a new one. And in this way, Prabhupada said the government of India at the time, so Prabhupada's living, I don't know when he first moved to Vrindavan, but say the 60s, right? That's safe to say. Prabhupada said deliberately to break, and the British, this was also their plan. We're off track, and I guess I want to keep on time. But the British, there's a famous report. Lord Macaulay, you can Google it. I've got a copy of it. Lord Macaulay was sent by the British East India Company that how do we conquer India? This is before they'd worked their way in. They started from the ports, like Hong Kong invading China. So they got ports on the coast, and the Maharajas wouldn't let them in time, and they'll spoil everything. And they gradually worked their way in. And India's great gift to British gift to India was the railways. That's what they said. Look, we built all the railways. You know why they built those railways? So they could suck all the raw materials out of the inland, hinterland, the interior, all the cotton, all the jute, all that. He could suck it all out, send it to the factories in Manchester, and then ship back British-made goods, which they forced them to buy in India at an increased price. Why is the spinning wheel on the Indian flag? Because Gandhi was saying, and Prabhupada says he was right about this, make your own cloth. Take the raw material, spin your own cloth, make khadi cloth, and save money. And don't buy from the Brits. Don't buy, May have your blacksmith make your razor which lasts for your whole life. And be peaceful, be happy. Unless you turn the flame up, the water doesn't boil. So they want the society, everyone to be at high-pitched boil. Got to get this, buy new and improved, brand new. increased size, new flavor. Next time you go to the supermarket, just walk through and see how many ways they're trying to agitate your senses. What do they always have? They're called impulse purchases. At every operation, they got a bunch of junk. It doesn't cost too much by the front. You know, as you're checking out, oh, there's a whole reason for that. It's not there by random chance. Yeah, kids screaming, yeah, I want to get it. So throw it in for the kid, the candy bar, get a pack of gum. Oh, look at that, just a new kind of cookie, you know. So they're just trying to milk us instead of physically taking you and shaking you by your feet until your change in gold fillings fall out. But that's what they're doing subtly. So the point of being satisfied, all righty, I have X amount of time. It's the most valuable thing we've got is time. And we choose how to invest our time. Do we know what Prabhupada said about golf when it was explained to him? Prabhupada used to, on the way to different places Prabhupada would walk in Los Angeles, and I just read that the same thing happened when Prabhupada was in Scotland, the home of golf. So when Prabhupada first, Kurandar told us this after going on the morning walk with Prabhupada. Kurandar said, Prabhupada saw people playing golf. What is the principle behind golf? What do? You take a stick and you knock it, a little ball, into a hole 18 times. Now you can complicate the thing. You put sand pits and hills and slopes and stuff like that. But basically it's not taking a stick and knocking a ball into a hole 18 times. So after, there's short courts, but that's another thing. So when this was explained, the Prabhupada said, what are they doing? They said, oh, Prabhupada, it's called golf and this is how it works. Prabhupada said it has simply been invented by old men to waste time. So the point is, we've got time, right? We've got time. Now, where are you going to invest it? And if you've got to buy the newest whiz-bang or the latest fashion, cars, like I say, 1920, just to be generous, they made cars that still last. They still drive. 105 years later. You don't think they could make a car that would last 50 years? With all the safety, shock and power steering. You can make a car. So what do? Everybody buys a car, they're satisfied? Ki jai. That's it. So what do you have to do? You want to keep selling cars. You want to sell a car every few years. Yeah, plan. Well, it's a little more subtle. You ever notice the fins get bigger, fins disappear? Cars are boxy, cars are round, cars are there, It's the same thing. It's a box with 4 wheels on it. But you got to change the style. And why? So when your neighbor pulls in with a brand new car and you've got your car that's 3 or 4 years old, geez, what are you doing with it? You're not with it, man. You're not on the cutting edge of fashion. You're not, my father used to get a new Cadillac every year. Why? Because it's the new Cadillac. Explain that one to me. The necessity of it. It's all driven by false ego and pride and by comparison with your neighbor. And they're just milking you. They're just squeezing, like wringing out a towel. So the Vedic ethos is be satisfied. You've got what you need. Prabhupada said a Vaishnava, this is the, because we're monks, we're renounced. Give me enough land to lie down. Give me a little prasadam. Other than that, let me serve. That's Vaishnava ethos. You got enough land to lie down. You get a little cushion. Make some simple. I was on a morning walk with Prabhupada. We've gone way afield, but that's okay. I was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. And I was just reading in that Siddhanta's latest memories. Prabhupada evidently did this at a couple places. Prabhupada was interested in everything. He was distracted by nothing and interested in everything. Balance those two things. But Prabhupada was interested. He liked the history of a place. He liked it. I was on a walk with Prabhupada, and a train went by, and after the train had gone by, Prabhupada said, how many compartments? How many, I forget the exact word he used, but he means how many, what do you call them? Cars. How many cars on the train? Nobody knew the answer. Prabhupada, in the park, there was a couple steps up to a higher level. Prabhupada we all walked up the steps. Prabhupada said, how many steps were in that? Nobody. What? I'm trying to keep my dhoti on. And Prabhupada said, a gentleman always knows his surroundings. I mean, not that we're obsessive, but, just Prabhupada was interested in everything. And yet distracted by nothing. He was the center of everything was Krishna. So, we have time. What are we going to do with it? If we don't, I remember reading an article years ago, and who was that devotee on the LA walks? Prajapati? Would always ask in his Shakespearean voice, I say, Prabhupada. So he mentions it to Prabhupada that the problem is we're going to figure out how to live eternally. You can just, you can get a new hip, new knees, new this, new that. So, it'll be like, remember Mr. Potato Man? Did you guys ever play with Mr. Potato Man? Yeah, it was a potato, and you had different legs and shoes and a hat or a muzzle, and you could take the same potato, you can make it into a man or a woman, by the different parts. So the idea is that we're just like Mr. Potato Man. You can just replace your eyes, replace your ears. Hey, new teeth, no problem, New heart, eventually they'll figure it all out. So they said the problem is this was some futurist was speaking. The problem, we're going to learn how to live forever. Your brain is just a complex computer. So you just download your brain, your personality, make sure you have a backup. But, and you can live forever. The problem will not be that death. We're going to conquer that. The problem is going to be boredom. If you live forever, been there, done that. So, but the point I'm trying to make is that what are we going to do with our time? Where are we going to invest our time? They're investing it. What else are you going to do when you're an old man? So go out and play golf. At least you get a little exercise. How to fill your time. In Japan, because it generates income. It stirs the economy. So in Japan, everybody works hard. It's famous for hard, like an ant colony. They're all working away. So, but if they can inspire the Japanese population for leisure time and recreation, well, that will generate income. If you get into skiing, then you got to buy skis, you got to buy winter wear, you got to have a resort. And you got to go on a vacation. So they set up it's a true story. They set up a government department to figure out how to encourage the Japanese to take less time working, instead of working 7 days a week, take time off for recreation. And it's very important. It'll generate the economy. It'll stimulate the economy. Right? You know what the problem was? The committee that was supposed to get the Japanese to work less took their job so seriously, they worked 7 days a week. So what are you going to do with your time? And because they have no idea of transcendence or the taste, we do the same thing on one hand. Let's strip it down to the lowest common denominator. We're chanting Hare Krishna. It's 3 words, 16 words, 3 words, used 16 times, 32 syllables. Dravida Prabhu, has Hare Krishna, how long have you been chanting Hare Krishna?
Since 1970.
1970. Yeah, so what is that? That's 55 years. Have you found it becoming dry? I've been chanting Hare Krishna also since 1969, but whatever, same time. I'm just finding out how sweet the holy name is. It gets sweeter and sweeter and fuller and deeper. It's quite a mystical thing. And you can find devotees all over the planet who are having this same experience. I thought I was chanting Hare Krishna. Prabhupada calls it Snika Snika Ram Ram. I thought I was chanting Hare Krishna, and I was, and Krishna knows my intent. But I find it getting sweeter and richer and deeper and more overwhelming, more attractive every year. So we don't have a problem what to do with our time. And Radharani, Srimati Radharani, never cooks the same preparation for Krishna twice. It's always something new, something fresh, a new variety. So just imagine pure devotional service, chanting the holy name. We don't have any problem. As a manager in ISKCON, my father asked me one time, he said, you're, a monk living in the temple. Don't you ever get bored? I said, to tell you the truth, Dad, I've been baked, burned, dropped down a shaft. I've been through so many things, but I've never been bored. Boredom has never been a problem. So I'm way off track, and we do need to end. But the lessons we can pull out of, and there's so many lessons. Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness is like a diamond. A faceted diamond? Prabhupada said you turn it so many different ways. Every way you turn it, it catches the light in a different way. So, I've been reading Bhagavad Gita, Dravida, Balaram Prabhu for so many. It's all ever fresh. You ever get bored with Bhagavad Gita? You ever say, I read it before. Can you imagine reading Gone with the Wind for 50 years? Or I don't know what, Shakespeare. It gets dry fast. Prabhupada says you can't chant Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. Do you get, what is it? What do they call Coca-Cola? The real thing? Fizzy sugar water. My brother, and we'll wrap up, but my brother worked one summer to get some spare change when he was in college at a Coca-Cola bottling factory, loading, cases of Coca-Cola, and it was glass bottles in those days. You put I don't know if you guys have even seen them, but there used to be wood crates, and you're loading 500 crates a day onto the back of a truck, you drop a few. So over the, few crates and splash. So my brother had leather work boots. And for 3 months, actually probably 2.5, he's loading Coca-Cola into this into trucks, drop a few now and then. By the end of 2.5 months, it had rotted through his leather work boots. He thought, geez, what does this do to my stomach? Wasn't there a guy who lived on McDonald's?
Yeah, he's in the White House.
Was it called he's in the White House. No, there was another guy, and it was called, I think it was a film I saw it. It's called Super Size Me. It's interesting. You should check it out. But he was going to live on McDonald's, wasn't it? And he was supposed to live on McDonald's for, I think it was only food from McDonald's. I think it was a month. Maybe it was 2 months. Anybody know? Yeah, it was. And his doctors had to take him off it. It was killing him. His blood pressure went through the roof. He gained 30 pounds. His mother couldn't even recognize him. So what are we doing with the Vedic culture is keep it simple. Simple living and high thinking. Prabhupada said now they're living, it's high living and simple thinking. They're thinking like boneheads. So there's so many things we can take out of the Vamanadeva Bali Maharaj. One can reject one's spiritual master. What? Why? I mean, I know anyway, I don't want to go too far afield. I'm already off the field. But what's the criteria? What is the job of a spiritual master? Is he supposed to cure your arthritis? Or get your kid into Harvard? Or, clear the path so all your mundane plans succeed? What is the job? And we'll finish with this, I keep saying we'll do that. What was the validity of Bali Maharaj rejecting the instruction of Sukracharya? What did Sukracharya tell Bali Maharaj? Anyone know? All right, Dravida?
Yeah, he told him not to go, to take back his promise because
Don't surrender to Vishnu. What is the whole purpose of Dharma? How does the Bhagavad Gita conclude? 18th chapter. The Gita Upanishad, the essence of the Upanishads. 18, nobody knows. Dravida knows. 18th chapter. What is the conclusion of Balaram knows? Yes, surrender unto me. Sarva Dharma. Give up all other dharmas and just surrender to me. Because after all, I think it was in the one of the previous chapters that I believe it's Bali Maharaj. I keep thinking Bali Mardan, but Bali Maharaj. What can you take with you at the time? Anybody here not going to die? I mean, wishful thinking, but anybody here going to die? Everybody going to die? Is there anything you can take with you? I mean, other than your karma and your, So we have to give it all up, right? What is there's an example with a bee. Bees work hard to make a beeline, right? Beeline means busy as a bee. So you never see a bee just hanging out, chilling. Zip, zip, they're busy, okay? So, and what are they busy doing? Huh? Don't overthink it. Bees make honey. Now, what happens if I'm a bee in a beehive being kept by a beekeeper? Sankarshan. I'm a bee. Bzz, I'm living in a beehive. I'm making honey, right? Connect the dots. We're all Now, if I'm kept by a beekeeper, that's a big hint. Who enjoys the honey? Huh? The beekeeper. They I don't know how they do it nowadays, but they used to smoke them out, stun them all. They had the honeycombs on racks. You pull it out and off you go, you know? So the bee, although we're busy as a bee, making a beeline for the flowers, always working hard, doesn't enjoy the fruit of his labor, right? Now, in the analogy found in the, enlightened by the natural path, who is the beekeeper who takes away the honey, the object of all of our hard work? Don't know. If you get the wrong answer, we'll be friends. Other than Dravida. Who said time? Chad. Time. So Bali Maharaj, I keep saying Bali Maharaj, but here's another lesson. I'm just trying to say what's in the Bhagavatam. As we should, instead of being exploited and using our time in creating more and more complicated life and more stuff and, heating up the boiling water so we're always in anxiety. I want this, I want that, got to get more, Chanaka Pand, anyway, that's another story. We should realize that we're going to have to give up everything anyway. Nobody takes it with them. There used to be a bumper sticker. The one who dies with the most toys wins. I remember thinking the one who dies with the most toys still dies and leaves all the toys for the dimwit relatives. They inherit everything. Why am I working so hard? So it actually happens sometimes with racehorses. And it happened up here in Del Mar. And I forget the name of the horse. A horse takes off in a race, right? You got the pack of horses, ding, they all take, zip. Where do they wind up? They knock themselves out running as fast as they can. Where do they wind up? Same place. Exact, it's a circle. And every now and then you get a racehorse, a thoroughbred, I forget the name of it. But they just ding, and they don't run. They think, what the hell? I'm going to get back in the same place. I got this idiot on my back whipping me. Why? I mean, some horses actually like to run. But a number of them think, I'm done. Put me out to the stud farm, I'm not doing this anymore. Of course, they usually go to the glue factory. That's another story. But so the point is that this is another lesson. What are we doing with our time? And what is the result of that? And death will come in the form of time, in the form of death will come and take it all away anyway. Therefore, I should use my time, I should use my energy, I should use my resources that I work so hard to get for the best cause. Let me give it to Krishna. And let me not be guided by a bogus spiritual master or Madison Avenue or whatever it is that the goal of life is to increase. Or some bogus priest who says, just be pious, pray to God. God is good to me now. There used to be that Reverend Ike who said, I've seen God. God isn't black. God isn't white. God is green. He was talking about money. You know, and there's a whole philosophy. It's called the theology of prosperity, or I forget what they call it. The proof, Protestant work ethic, proof that God loves you is that you're successful materially. So anyway, these are a few of the, I didn't even get started. There's a few of the lessons that can be learned from Bali Maharaj. To just surrender to Krishna. And everybody wins out. At the end of this, the Devas win out, the Asuras win out, Bali Maharaj wins out, Aditi wins out. Krishna is so expert. This I promise I'll finish on. We should have faith in just... I looked up the word faith in Oxford's dictionary, and the word faith means to have strong, unfailing conviction in someone or something. That's the first, there's other definition, but that's to have firm conviction, solid confidence in someone or something. So we are all putting our faith in someone, in our husband, in our wife, in the American nation, in Trump, whatever it may be. Everybody's putting their faith in something. Faith in our own intelligence. I'm going to map out a successful way. But Bali Maharaj, in this Lila, Vamanadeva winds up satisfying everyone. Sukracharya, if you do a review of it, everybody wins out. Everybody gets what they want. Everybody's satisfied. Nobody else can do that. If we just put our firm faith in Krishna. I'm not having a bunch of dharmas. I'm not listening to this voice, Sukracharya, that voice. I'm simply surrendering to Krishna. I'm surrendering to Krishna's service. I have faith that Krishna will fully satisfy me, deliver me, take me out of this dark, dank material world and take me back to Godhead. So that's the essence of Vaman Lila. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. You made it. We're a little over time, but thank you for listening patiently.